Welcome to the World Computer Tech Talks. My name is Grégory, and I lead the cross-chain team at the DFINITY Foundation. Did you know that a smart contract on the internet computer can interact with other blockchains like Ethereum or Solana without a single point of failure? Most blockchains like Ethereum, Solana, and the likes are walled gardens, offering only a one-way communication street. They cannot reach the outside world, but the outside world can reach them through some API that can be used over the internet. This enables many important user applications that live outside of those blockchains, not the least one of them being user wallet applications like MetaMask or Phantom. However, most of these APIs are only offered through centralized commercial services like Alchemy, Infura, Helios, and the likes, which usually require a form of payment. Not only does it require to set up an account with a credit card and to manage API keys, but more importantly, it also brings a central point of failure. For correctness, is my account balance really 1 million USDC or is it just 1 USDC? For availability, I cannot send my urgent transaction if the provider I'm using is offline. This might be good enough when dealing with $10 worth of meme coin, but what about an application dealing with customers' funds? The internet computer solves that problem by enabling smart contracts to reach the outside world, and developing and managing smart contracts to contact multiple providers and aggregate their responses. So let us go into more details. One unique feature of the internet computer is the ability for smart contracts to reach the outside world. They can issue so-called HTTPS outcalls. What that means is that nodes participating in the network, which are distributed all over the world, send each the same HTTP request to the requested URL, and consensus is done on the received responses to agree on one final response. A smart contract on the internet computer making HTTPS outcalls has a similar role to a Web2 client issuing HTTPS requests, except that it's decentralized and without a single point of failure by construction. But what about the other end, the contacted server, which is typically outside of the internet computer? Without being able to verify the content of the server's response, the next best thing is to contact multiple independent entities that provide the same service and compare their responses to avoid a single point of failure. Since managing multiple such services is cumbersome, DFINITY manages two smart contracts, one to reach Ethereum and the other one to reach Solana, that can be used as building blocks by developers for their own applications. And they provide three things. First, by default, three providers are contacted for every request and equality between their responses is required. For example, to read the balance of an Ethereum address on mainnet, the providers BlockPy, Anchor, and Public Node will be contacted, and only if their response matches will the caller not get an error. 2. More robust strategies, such as threshold 3 out of 4, can also be selected by the caller to allow for one deviation to account, for example, for a provider being occasionally unavailable. And third, callers pay for their requests in cycles, the native currency on the internet computer to pay for resources, like gas on Ethereum, so no need to take care of API keys. Last but not least, these two smart contracts are governed by the decentralized autonomous organization that governs the whole internet computer. This is to ensure that any change in the code of those smart contracts must be done through a proposal that is carefully reviewed and voted on by the community. Smart contracts on the internet computer can reach other blockchains, like Ethereum and Solana, without bridging, without a single point of failure. Add the Bitcoin integration to the mix, and you obtain an unprecedented level of decentralized interoperability between blockchains orchestrated from the internet computer. This is multi-chain DeFi at its finest. And my question to you is, how will you use it?